right after the massacre in Iran in early January by the Islamic Republic in Iran, right after that, we had uh, bundles of undeclared hair, women's hair, um, basically being Armenian custom officers like took seized 143 bundles of undeclared hair from Iran. So let me read this. Armenian customs officers have confiscated 143 bundles. So this has just happened, but apparently they tracked it back, the timing of it. I'm not going to read the whole thing, to exactly what happened in Iran. And basically, people, what is being said is that the regime basically cut the hair of the people that it just massacred and is selling it into the market to profit off of the hair from Iranian women that it just killed, right? So that's the
Yeah.
news. What did you want to say about it?
Yeah, like I'm terrified. I think it's horrible. I'm assuming you're horrified by it, right?
Yeah, of course.
So you agree like that this is not okay and like you shouldn't be able to just like sell hair of people you just killed like
Of
in a
course not.
capitalist market.
This is not capitalism.
This is
So,
capitalism.
so Samantha, I think you're under the impression that buying and selling things makes it capitalism.
Yes.
Okay, so you know people bought and sold things and in under Mao and under Stalin and under every single communist regime that was there, right?
Well, yeah, but like I'm trying to think of how to this is like not personal use. This is like
So what is capitalism? Do you have a definition?
not one I want to give at the moment.
Okay. So capitalism is not like buying and selling things doesn't make the system is the system that you're in capitalism. Okay. So that is not the definition of capitalism. In fact, if it was, then there's so many economic systems that are not capitalism and they have buying and selling in them and they're not described as capitalism. So simply buying and selling doesn't make something capitalism. So you understand what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, but like
and
this is
second of all,
capitalism.
well, it's not. Okay. It's not. I mean, you say it's capitalism and I'm saying it's not, and you don't want to give me a definition. So given that you're not giving me a definition, how are you deciding that this is capitalism? I mean, you agree by saying that this is capitalism, it doesn't make it capitalism, right? You agree with that? Okay. So do you know that capitalism has limitations on what you could sell and buy? Like there under a capitalist system, there are limitations on what you're allowed to buy and sell. Like capitalism acknowledges that the government should set limitations on what is sellable. Did you know that?
No.
Or no, as in you didn't know, or know that you disagree with this?
No as in both. I don't know that and I disagree with it.
Okay, so if you so capitalism was popularized by this book called The Wealth of Nations by this person called Adam Smith. Okay, so if you go back, even by from this very foundation, it introduces, if you read the book Wealth of Nations, it introduces limitations. It has a role for the government and it introduces limitations on what the market is allowed to do, right? So capitalists, and some of, not anarcho capitalists, but sane capitalists, most capitalists believe in the fact that you need to have a government and you need to have rules and there needs to be a limitation on what can be sold in the market, and there needs to be government force used against buying and selling stuff that violates the law. So the vast majority of capitalists out there are except the anarcho-capitalists, believe that there is a role that the government has in limiting what you can buy and sell. Okay. So, for example, a capitalist, the vast majority of capitalists think that you cannot go and buy and sell humans, for example. That's against the law, and that should not be legal. There is a limit to what you could buy and sell. Okay. So this is a law. This is something that most capitalists agree there should be rules against it. So I mean, here's an interesting thing. Capitalists have limitations for businesses. For example, capitalists are interested in maximizing competition. So to maximize competition, they think that the governments should put rules where, for example, companies cannot do price fixing. So capitalists, for example, are very much interested in breaking monopolies, right? So capitalists think that the government should get involved. If there are monopolies being formed, the government should step in and break apart monopolies to increase competition. So you can see that the capitalists have a lot of desire for getting the government involved in limitations of what can be done in the free market. It's just that their limitations that they believe is not the same as the limitations that socialists or communists believe, right? A capitalist is not necessarily somebody who thinks that government should not touch anything. They just disagree with what the government should do compared to what the socialists and the Marxists want the government to do. But they're not saying like just step back and just let everything happen. Not all transactions are are accepted by capitalists just because it's a transaction. It doesn't mean just because something is a transaction, it doesn't mean that it has the stamp of approval of capitalism. Okay. By the way, am I talking to you in a way that, so I know you were nervous,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
am I adding to your stress, or are you okay?
No, you're good.
Okay. We love you, by the way. Okay.
Okay, next to respond, we have Sketch.
One of the first rights gained by the citizenry was habeas corpus. Habeas corpus is means where is the body. This was in Britain, in London, in UK. It was because in the case of kidnapping, in the case of arrest, the people wanted the government to say, hey, the body is property of the family. You can't touch the body. You either tell us why you arrested a person or you give us the body. Right? It is one of the first, I would say, sacred things that the government has to deal with is the sanctity of where is the body. Now, I would know that I'm not speaking of anyone in particular, not particularly you, Samantha, but I know that leftists who disgustingly take advantage of the martyrdom of Iranians would opportunistically use this as to as a chance to speak against capitalism. Capitalism is the voluntary sale of property that you rightfully own to persons who voluntarily purchase it. So you can't coerce a person into buying, and you can't sell things that aren't yours. Because one of the first laws that we understand has been for hundreds of years, one of the first laws to be encoded, and it's in Britain's unwritten constitution, and definitely in ours. You have to produce the body. You can't just kidnap people. That's not allowed. And and if they die in your custody, you have to produce the body. Now, many people are just, if we're talking about feelings about discussing this from people who opportunistically use the death of these people as disgustingly as the people who sell the hair. Like, if you're using this to sell communism, you are no less disgusting than the people that are using this to sell their hair, because you're taking advantage of a horrible situation to put forward your goals. Now, I understand that we don't want to hurt people's feelings, but it is a common known, written in many books, tactic of propagandists to weaponize their feelings so that you can't counter their arguments. I feel scared. I feel surrounded. I feel oppressed is a common, very common tactic of all propagandists to state things that are not fact. And when pushback comes, their feelings are weaponized as a defense. I'm not saying this is what Samantha's doing. I'm saying that if, let's say, you have a young grown bear that's caught in a bear trap and you're like, oh my God, you're caught here. Let me try to free you. You can't forget that that's a bear and it has its instincts. Some people don't even understand what they're talking about, but instinctually will refer to their feelings as a defense for their terrible, disgusting instinct to lash out at whatever they're trying to oppose through propaganda and use horrible situations like this. So you like, I understand that if we're going with a particular person, this person is, well, not emotionally stable, but rarely you find a leftist that's emotionally stable, especially if the leftist has been raised throughout their whole life as a leftist, because part and parcel of their programming is to use their emotions as a defense. If you're always talking about your emotions, if you're constantly talking yourself into a state of nervousness and you're constantly talking yourself into a state of fear, you're going to be afraid, right? This has been studied also by the medical professionals within psychology. If you're always talking about your psychological problems, they'll get worse. If you just get on with life and I realize I have this, but I'm going to stay busy with other things, you'll get better. So, but these people, because they are uh, tools, right? And you have this person, yeah, it's a human, but it's also just a tool programmed by leftist philosophy into attacking through propaganda and defending through assertions about their feelings.
So I know that Sketch already said that this is not, these claims are not by Samantha. So I just want to, I'm not negating what you're saying. I'm just want to add to it that I don't think Samantha is weaponizing her feelings, and I know this because she has changed her feelings, her views. Like, I think that these are genuine feelings that she has, and I, because I've seen her progress. Like, she's not trying to pull us towards herself. She has made, if that was the plan, then why is she changing her mind then? Right? Like, so that's
You
why I
can
don't.
train a bear, like, it's an instinct, right? I don't think she's lying. I think she has that instinct. That's why I said programming.
Hmm.
I don't think she's
No,
being false. I think
no,
they're programmed to have an emotional reaction. And
yeah.
for whoever,
We're
Samantha or
speaking.
whoever, I'm very sorry you have to
I
go through
didn't.
that, and my heart goes out to you.
I didn't interrupt you, Sketch. So please, when I am not interrupting you, please don't interrupt me. Please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. I lost my chain of thought, Sketch. So I don't know. Mm, please don't interrupt me, guys. What was I saying? Even if she's being conditioned this way, like, the two things could be true at the same time. This could be part of her programming, and they at the same time are her genuine feelings. So obviously, somebody expressing her feelings should not change your opinions, because facts don't care about your feelings. But it is also a fact that these are our feelings, and we care for other people, and their feelings matter to us, not because the feelings are supposed to convince us, but the feelings matter to us because we as humans should care for other people's feelings. Like, facts are what we use to come up with conclusions, but the goal of coming up with better conclusions is to ultimately reach better feelings. So feelings are not a good tool, but they are the goal, right? Superior feelings are the goal. They're a horrible tool, but they are supposed to be our destination, to provide superior feelings, to cause better feelings. And if somebody is in distress, especially if they're in distress because of their programming, then we should care about the fact that they're feeling bad. Because what is the point of working with each other here, other than trying to bring people out of distress? So if somebody is in distress, their distress doesn't show that their points are correct, but their distress does show that we have a responsibility to bring them out of that distress. It does show that, at least, right? And also, Sketch, you made a good point regarding capitalism. um so this example of IRGC is actually a government overreach, where like the IRGC like taking people's body parts and selling them is actually something that a capitalist would be extremely sensitive about, because what the capitalist would see is the government getting involved in people's lives. And a capitalist would be like, see, this is what happens when a government has too much power. This is what happens when you don't have limited government. That's actually a capitalist would see this as an example to their philosophy and to their way of looking at life. And you're also completely correct that a main principle of capitalism is agency, economic agency, an agency over your own body. And this is actually an example of someone's agency, which were the victims that the Islamic Republic killed, their agency being violated and their bodies used against their own will, which is again something that goes against the fundamentals of capitalism. Okay.
We have Sherry to respond.
I don't know who Dela is. She's new to me. I apologize. I don't know who Dela is. But Dela, nobody, as far as I know, here hates Samantha or hates on Samantha in any way, shape, or form. What we're here to do is have discussions. We may disagree with Samantha. We may want to try and help her through her thought process, but there's no hate here. There's absolutely 100% no hate here, not towards her. In fact, I like she seldom really wants to share herself and talk, in my experience. But when she does, I'm very interested in hearing what she has to say. I pray for her every single day. I cannot begin to understand how much pain she is in because of her background and her experiences. But there is no hate here.
Okay, next we will have Danny, and then we'll close out with Armin.
I think it's worth underscoring that if I understood Samantha correctly, in communist circles, capitalism is seen as the psychotic pursuit of money with no regard to any other values, such as human bodily autonomy. So I think that's why she was associating selling the hair of people you've just murdered with capitalism. So it's just good insight into how they think, I hope.
Yes. And it's also good that she's listening to people who are telling her why that's not the right way to look at it.
One more thing, I can't understand. I don't know what it's like to spend your time in so much anger and hate. I don't understand that. Release yourself from that. Anger and hate does not help you. It poisons you. Step out of it. Give yourself a chance to breathe and step out of it.
Okay. By the way, can I point out something real quickly? We capitalists would not be welcomed in a communist group the way that Samantha is welcomed in this mostly capitalist group here. So that's something to keep in mind.
Okay, Armin, you are last to touch on this topic unless you've already done it.
I already did it, but I have I have a lot of super chats, so 12 of them. Wow. Let me just go through them really fast.
Please.
Thank you. Yeah, Lior saying just wanted to show up my new picture. Well, your picture is still a doggy. Am I missing something? It's the it's not updating for me. It's still that white fluffy dog. Okay, that's strange. Well, thank you for the super chat. Shirin with the super chat saying, "Getting crazy with Trump's acting." Yeah, I know. I understand that completely. Just Shirin, just also understand that if you're getting crazy, think about what the Islamic Republic is feeling. You know, the roller coaster that you're on is a lot more devastating to them than to you. But I completely understand it. Thank you so much for the super chat. Jew hater saying Iran removed only the violent protesters. Sure, buddy. Sure. And and your supreme leader is alive and well and not in the fridge at all. And you took down how many F-35s? I lost count. 5 or 6. And then you sunk the USS Abraham Lincoln. How many times again? Is it 7? I think I counted 7. Sure. Must be nice living in that delusional parallel universe that you made for yourself. Shana, thank you so much for the super chat saying Jewish Samantha required reading The Wealth of Nations. The Wealth of Nations might be too heavy and too dry. Is there any other book recommendations? But I mean, it's a good, yeah. I mean, it's not bad. Maybe watch a video on it to make it easier. But yeah, it's a good read. Yeah. We got another super chat from Wyatt saying the Iranian government sold the hair, not a private company, so it's socialism, not capitalism. Yeah, that's actually a good point. It wasn't done by a private company; it was done by the government, which is actually an example of too much government overreach, which goes against capitalism. Good point. And Jew hatred with another super chat saying Jewish Samantha, are you interested in a strong Muslim? Oh my God, I'm not even going to read this. Wow, look, I'm just going to highlight this guy. Look at these. These are the people who think that they have the higher moral standard than us. Look how violent, disgusting these people are. I'm so glad that you're saying that. Oh my God. I only have, it's so easy to demonstrate that our enemies are morally inferior to us. Like you keep acting like you have God on your side and you're better than us. And then you say that. Like, do I need to even say anything? I just look at it. Look at how violent, disgusting these people are. Guys, our job is too easy. Like, make it difficult. What the hell? And then another comment on Samantha, which I'm not going to highlight. So those super chats are lost. And then we have push-ups saying, yeah, if you want to comment on Samantha like that, I'm not going to highlight them. You could attack me, or you could make your bullshit claims and I'm going to highlight it. But if you attack Samantha like that, I'm not going to highlight it. Push-up saying one more reason to miss Reagan beating socialism. Yes. I mean, yeah, exactly. Loved it. Seriously, man, that I think we need to talk about that more. I think a lot of the rest of the world needs to appreciate, like, that was such a big deal. Like, I don't know if the world knows how disgusting and how horrible the world would be right now if communism had won the Cold War. So I mean, we should appreciate Reagan, but we should appreciate also United States as a whole. Ida with a super chat saying, just because you are all goat. Okay, well, thank you. Okay, thank you for the hearts and the hugs and the smiley face. Okay, 3 more. Jew hater saying, are those toes or fingers in her display? I don't know what they're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. Jew hater with another super chat. again, again, if you're addressing Samantha, I'm not going to read them. Just showing how vile and disgusting you are. Thank you very much. Van Dyke Veld is saying, I ain't Muslim, but I'm also single, ready to mingle. I will make dua for you, brother. Become kind, high value man, gain valued skills, money get fit. Wait, are you telling him that you will go on a date with him if he gets better, if he stops being a Jew hater? I don't know. Okay. Well, okay. Well, there's that, Jew hater. If you stop being such a disgusting Jew hating Muslim, Van Dyke Veld will take you out on a date. Um, and then we have dumb motherfucker with a super chat saying, I don't think it's good for us to jump to conclusions about the hair and where it came from. It's highly conspiratorial. I don't mean to be contrarian. No, you're being skeptical, which is healthy. It's just like you're right. Like we have to say that it seemed like this is what's happening. It's very likely, but it's not certain. So it's good to be skeptical about it.
My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.